What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be showing you two shots that could improve the scramble percentage. So no disc golfer can play this sport without being in the rough from time to time. But today I'm going to show you two different shots that have helped me progress down the fairway towards the basket and sometimes even shave a few strokes. So the first shot that I'm going to be talking about is a forehand roller. I like to use an understable disc, something like a Chief or an Element, maybe a Mystic. And I don't throw a whole lot of forehands, but I can throw forehand rollers. It's weird. So when I'm trying to throw a forehand roller, I'm putting the wing probably at this like 45-degree angle. And then you're gonna throw on that angle the entire time with your arm, and you try to lead with your elbow to get the most snap. That's how you throw a forehand anyway, but for some reason the actual throwing of a forehand hurts my shoulder. This shot doesn't hurt my arm as bad, so. And I'm only using this maybe once or twice around, and maybe get a putt that I wouldn't get without having this shot. So forehand roller, this is my grip. I have my finger pushing towards the rim, and then this pointer finger is just kind of stacked. And then this finger is just bracing the back side of the disc. There's two different types of forehand roller that I throw to get out of the rough. One is if I have a low ceiling around the pin, like we have here. So I'm having to go underneath these trees. Now normally here I would throw an air shot. So let's throw this, see if we can get close to the basket. So I'm gonna be aiming for a spot about 40 to 50 feet in front of me, and I'm gonna try to throw the disc into the ground on that spot. And you want to follow through. This is almost like hitting a nail with a hammer. It's not quite a forehand throw. You want to follow through all the way on the angle of the disc and trust that the disc is going to stand up. Your wrist movement plays a big role in getting this shot to work. You want your wrist to be cocked back and go spring forward to spin the disc. All right, so let's scoot over and let's make this a roller shot. So we could throw a backhand up and over top of this stuff, big spike hyzer up and over this stuff. The real option here would be a backhand roller. I'm gonna show you the forehand route. But let's try to get a forehand roller around this tree to the right. Try one more time with my wizard. So I'm aiming out towards maybe that brown leaf that's on the ground, 50 feet, and I'm trying to hit on an angle with something super understable that's gonna flip over. You have to keep in mind that a roller is kind of a last ditch effort to get to the basket. So you have to kind of make pretend with me a little bit here that this is our only route and we're pinched off in a bunch of woods, because the camera angle on that is not going to be very good, so you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just giving you the tools and you choose when to use them. But stay tuned, guys, because I left my most funky shot as a bonus tip at the end. So now, same scenario, this is the more open route over here, and say all of this was woods, rough to the right. Say that you were pinched off and this is all bushes to where you can't throw a forehand, and the only motion you have is this to get up over top of a bush. That's when a thumber roller comes into play. A thumber roller has this kind of grip. You're pinching the disc with your thumb and trying to keep it level with your arm. I'll put my pointer finger here and push up with this finger, so the pinch point is really here for my thumber with those two fingers. It's almost like you're making a fist. So throwing a thumber roller is almost the same as throwing a forehand roller. You want to release the disc the opposite direction this time, with the wing about at that 45-degree angle and still about 50 or so feet out in front of you. Now, for some reason, when you throw a thumber roller, you really need to throw something a little more stable. I'm gonna try this shot with this Chief, but watch how fast it flips over. So for a thumber roller, you want to throw something a little more stable. It really wants to flip and go towards the lid. So I'm going to try a thumber roller with this Houdini.
I also like to use thumber rollers for kind of this weird corner shot, one that would normally require a touchy skip forehand. So thumber rollers are very versatile, as are forehand rollers.
Now, are you gonna park this shot every time? No. There's too many variables. There's too much going on. You got roots on the ground, wind, all these kind of things. But if it's your last option, instead of pitching out 10 feet, you can gain almost 120 feet or more toward the pin and potentially get a birdie. So what do you do when you're so pinched off that you can't throw any overhead shots? Trees over top of your head, or there's trees kind of crowding you. Doesn't always work out to where you can do this, but a lot of times I can throw a yo-yo roller out of the rough, and that's what I call it. I don't know. It's a backhand roller, but I call it a yo-yo roller because you throw it just like you would be throwing a yo-yo. You're bringing the disc up to here like this and just straight down into the ground. And a lot of times you can get an extra 50 feet out of that shot on shots where you wouldn't have had anything at all. Now, all of these shots are really only useful when you have nothing else. So you don't want to be throwing these when you have an air shot option. Forehand, backhand, one of those two things, you need to be trying to throw that first. This is pretty far for a yo-yo roller. I'm gonna try to throw a wizard, see if I can get to the basket. I'm not moving my body at all. I'm just literally taking the disc here and throwing it like that, unfurling your arm and letting the disc just come out on a roller angle. Now I'm gonna try it with a Houdini. It may actually help for it to have a little more stable of a disc, get a little more distance. That's probably a 50-foot putt. If you throw these in the wrong scenario, they can actually make life a lot tougher for you. So only throw them when you have an open green and you're in the only rough. Otherwise, practice them so much that you know exactly what they're gonna do. Any kind of roller is definitely a Hail Mary attempt at getting to the basket. The thing I like the most about a forehand roller is you can actually lob them out and over top of everything. You have to imagine that I'm in a bunch of woods right now and this is my only gap. I'm just doing this so you can see me. So you pick your gap and try to hit it with the angle and then still follow through. Now, I didn't throw a whole lot of these out of the rough. I did that so that you could see me throw them. A lot of times when Paul Macbeth, people like that throw these, they're in the rough so bad that you can't see how they're throwing them. So I tried my best to give you guys multiple angles so you can see how I'm throwing a forehand roller, thumber roller, and even a crazy yo-yo roller. So that's my 3 favorite ways to get out of the rough. If you like this video, then here's another one that YouTube thinks you might enjoy from me. Have a great day. Stay in the fairway, guys. Let's not get in the rough at all, and then we won't have to do this.